Nintendo is really into remaking their old games, except for the ones that I actually want them to. Here are several Mario games that I want to receive new versions on the Switch or Switch 2, and how I would personally go about doing them. Super Mario 3D Land is currently the only 3D Mario not playable on the Switch or Switch 2. Why? Yeah, 64 DS isn't, but that's just 64 with more stuff in it, not a completely original game. 3D Land is just a great game that's unfortunately stuck on the 3DS. Yeah, it technically benefited from the 3D in some instances, but it never really needed it. So here's how I would do a remake. Honestly, if I was in charge, I would just kind of cheat and reuse as many 3D World assets as possible. Like, these games are so similar already and use a lot of the same things. The models for Mario, his power-ups, and most of the enemies and stuff like that are already done with 3D World. You could also definitely include some new levels too, I guess, but I don't really know. Maybe some more remix stages like from the original game's Special World. I've seen a lot of people say they'd have to add multiplayer to a Switch remake, and sure, I guess I wouldn't complain. But 3D Land wasn't designed with multiplayer in mind, so I don't think it would work very well. I personally wouldn't mind seeing this as like a final Mario Switch release or something. Now, if this ends up being $60, I'd probably still buy it because I'm a loser. Super Mario Land 2 is an incredibly underrated 2D Mario game. I mean, it introduced Wario. It's just very weird too, like one of the bosses is called Big Bird and it's a big bird. I just want to see this game remade for modern hardware to squeeze out any of my issues with it. And most of those are just due to the hardware it's on. The Game Boy is not really the best for a more complex 2D Mario game like this. I'd really like to see it in the Wonder art style or maybe even a new sprite-based look. Or they could just go with a hand-drawn style in a similar vein to Wario Land Shake It. And at this point they might as well just throw in the original Mario Land to go with it. I'd totally buy a Super Mario Land remake collection for like $40. They'd charge $60, but still. Mario & Luigi Dream Team is my favorite entry in that series, and a remake could totally fix any of my issues with it. Sure, I don't think a simple remastered port would be awful, I'd still buy it. However, a full remake in the style of Brothership's art style would be so cool. Plus, it would kind of bring things full circle with Dream Team's art style being the basis for every previous Mario & Luigi remake. Having that game itself be remade would be kind of ironic. I think the main thing they'd really need to do is add a dialogue fast forward or skip option. Just that small change would be a huge deal. Just that small change would be a huge deal. I mean, yeah, they'd have to rework the giant battles a lot since they relied entirely on the 3DS's unique hardware and all, but it's not impossible. Probably, maybe. They could use the Switch 2's mouse controls or something. This is definitely the game in this video I want to see remade the most. If you're enjoying the video so far, please like and subscribe. I try to upload 2 long-form videos like this a month, and I'm also trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before Nintendo releases the next 3D Mario game. And at this rate, it feels kinda likely. I think the method of remaking them is pretty obvious. Just reuse the stuff already made for the Thousand Year Door remake from 2024. At least for the original Paper Mario, Super's style is extremely different, so they'd maybe just be better off doing a remaster, but I don't know. Either way, I just want Super Paper Mario on the Switch or Switch 2, please Nintendo, hurry up and do it. Mario Super Sluggers is probably my favorite Mario sports game, and since we're seemingly never getting a new baseball game, or at least it feels that way, I'd take a remake or remaster of this one. I mean, all you really have to do is add a few more characters, maybe another field, and boom, done. Now, I'd obviously prefer a fully new game. Maybe. Mario sports games have had a reputation for a bit to just be lacking in content at launch and only getting things later down the line via free updates, but Mario Tennis Fever kind of changed that. Like, yeah, it's not a substantial amount of content, especially for the price, but it was better than anything they had released in like the past 12 years. And I guess they're still releasing new content after launch too, which is good, I guess. Just wish it was based on literally any other game. Anyway, the original Luigi's Mansion. I mean, yeah, they clearly aren't against doing games that have A, already received remakes on the 3DS, B, are incredibly short, and C, are already on Switch Online. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and to see it with even better visuals would just be amazing. I'd be a little bit worried they'd end up messing with the style too much or something, making it more along the lines of the following entries, but I don't know. The remake for the 3DS was fine in my opinion. And the game still looks visually pretty good by today's standards, so you wouldn't have to do all too much. I mean, obviously the textures and models are lower quality, but still. The main thing I'd want to see them update is the lighting. Imagine this game with the insanely well done lighting of Luigi's Mansion 3. That would just be one of the greatest games ever made. While Yoshi's Woolly World does not even come close to needing a full remake since it still holds up incredibly well, I think a simple remaster would be perfect. Have the game be in a higher resolution on Switch 2, add the 3DS exclusive content, and some more amiibo costumes since there's like a billion more amiibo now than when either version of the game was released. I just want more people to be able to play this game. It's a shame that it's stuck on the Wii U and 3DS. I mean, this is just so simple. Port it to the Switch already. It didn't use the gamepad in any substantial way as far as I can remember, and even if it did, they could just find a workaround. They've done it for more difficult things. I mean, guys, the Switch is basically on its last legs here. All of the games releasing from this point forward on the thing will probably just be remakes or ports. Finish what you started and bring over the remaining Wii U games, even Paper Mario Color Splash. Now, Nintendo Land, on the other hand, that's a more difficult ask. Yeah, every entry in the new Super Mario Bros. Series is incredibly similar to each other, but they're all still good games at the very least. I'm obviously not talking about New Super Mario Bros. U here since it's already on the Switch. I think the remake approach is fairly obvious too. Much like Super Mario 3D Land, just use the assets from the incredibly similar HD game. In this case, New Super Mario Bros. U. Yes, I know the game's art styles do differ from game to game, but let's be honest, it's really not that big of a difference. Now, I'm not just saying remake New Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Maker 2 and slap it on a Switch card for $60 or anything. Like, I'd still want them to keep the little differences. And I'm more so imagining a new Super Mario All-Stars, much like that fake leak from before last year's September Nintendo Direct. And man, would I have preferred to get that as opposed to what we actually got. I guess they could use the Wonder art style, which would be cool. But the bland art style of these games is ironically enough a part of their identity. So that's why I said they should just use the new Super Mario Bros. U visuals. Now, these are just some games that I'd like to see made available on newer hardware in some capacity. Maybe not necessarily a remake or even a remaster. Like, just add them to Switch Online or something. Mario Kart Double Dash will probably be added eventually, but at the rate they've been adding GameCube games to the GameCube collection, we might have all died by then. The rest of the Mario and Luigi series, even Paper Jam. I just want all of the games on one device again, because before Brothership, in order to play the entire series, all you needed was a 3DS. And on the Switch so far, you've only got the first game and the latest one. And finally, just give us Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. We need a real man's Mario sports game on the Switch.